Have you ever wondered how secure your web applications are? A crucial component of web security is understanding and properly implementing authentication mechanisms. One such mechanism widely used in web development is the JSON Web Token, or JWT. JWTs, rather like little digital passports, securely transmit information between parties. They're compact, URL-safe, and can be conveniently passed as part of an HTTP request or as a parameter in a URL. But what exactly are these tokens and how are they structured? A JWT is composed of three core parts: a header, a payload, and a signature. The header typically contains two elements: the type of token, which in this case is JWT, and the signing algorithm being used, such as HMAC SHA-256 or RSA. Moving on to the payload, this part carries the claims. Now, claims are essentially statements about an entity, usually the user, along with some additional data. There are three types of claims: registered, public, and private claims. The final part is the signature. To create the signature, you take the encoded header, the encoded payload, a secret, and the algorithm specified in the header and sign it all together. JWTs play a significant role in authentication and authorization. Once a user logs in, the server can issue a JWT containing user-related information. This JWT is then sent to the client. For subsequent requests to access protected resources, the client can include this JWT, eliminating the need to send credentials with each request. Quite efficient, isn't it? Now that we understand what JWTs are and their structure, we need to be aware of potential security risks. JWTs, like any other technology, can be misused if not handled correctly. In our next segment, we'll delve deeper into these risks and how attackers might exploit them. Stay tuned, because understanding these risks is the first step to building more secure applications. While JWTs serve a crucial role in securing web applications, they can also be a target for attackers. Let's delve into the ways in which JWTs can be exploited. Firstly, we have stolen or leaked tokens. If an attacker gains access to a user's JWT, they can impersonate that user until the token expires. This can happen if the token is stored insecurely on the client side, say in local storage, or if it is transmitted over an insecure connection. It's like handing over the keys to your house to a burglar. Secondly, JWT tampering is another common exploit. An attacker may alter the contents of a JWT, modifying the claims to gain unauthorized access or privileges. For example, an attacker might change the user ID or role in the payload to elevate their permissions. It's akin to a chameleon blending in and gaining access to areas they shouldn't be in. Next, we have token expiry manipulation. If the client-side validation of token expiration is not properly implemented, an attacker could manipulate the token to extend its validity. This allows them to maintain access for a longer period, like an unwelcome guest who overstays their welcome. Fourthly, brute force attacks are a potential vulnerability. If the secret used to sign the JWT is weak, or if the server allows unlimited attempts to validate a JWT, an attacker might attempt a brute force attack to guess the secret and create valid JWTs. It's like trying all possible key combinations until finding the right one. Finally, there are replay attacks. An attacker may capture a valid JWT and attempt to replay it, using it to impersonate the original user. This is why it's crucial to include measures to prevent token reuse. It's like replaying a recorded message over and over again until it's accepted as genuine. These vulnerabilities can turn JWTs, which should be a tool for secure communication, into a dangerous weapon in the wrong hands. However, this doesn't mean you should avoid JWTs altogether. Rather, it's important to be aware of these potential risks and take the necessary precautions to secure your applications. Awareness of these vulnerabilities is the first step to securing your applications. In our next segment, we will discuss how to mitigate these risks. To protect your applications from the vulnerabilities we've discussed, certain best practices should be followed when using JWTs. Let's delve into some of these practices. Firstly, it's paramount to transmit JWTs over secure connections to prevent interception. This means using HTTPS instead of HTTP. HTTPS encrypts the data between the client and the server. making it much harder for attackers to intercept and steal tokens. Secondly, set a reasonable expiration time for tokens and validate it on the server side. Short-lived tokens are generally safer, as they limit the time window in which an attacker can use a stolen or tampered token. If the token is marked as expired on the client side, but the server does not validate this, an attacker could manipulate the token's expiry time and maintain access for longer. Thirdly, if tokens need to be stored on the client side, use secure storage mechanisms like HTTP-only cookies. Unlike local storage or session storage, GPI-only cookies are not accessible via JavaScript, which reduces the risk of tokens being stolen through cross-site scripting, XSS attacks. Next, let's talk about the signing secret. This is the key used to generate the JWT signature, and it's crucial to keep it secure. Use strong algorithms for signing and regularly update the keys to mitigate the risk of brute force attacks. If the secret is compromised, an attacker could create their own valid tokens and gain unauthorized access. Validation is another important aspect of secure JWT usage. Always validate and sanitize the input data in the JWT. This can prevent attacks where the token's payload is tampered with, such as changing a user's role or permissions. Finally, implement mechanisms for token revocation. Even with short-lived tokens, there may be scenarios where a token needs to be invalidated before it expires. For example, when a user logs out, changes their password, or if their account is disabled. Having a token revocation mechanism allows you to maintain control over active sessions and promptly cut off access when required. These are just a few of the best practices for secure JWT usage. Each application is unique, and security needs can vary. But these principles provide a solid foundation for building secure token-based authentication systems. By following these best practices, you can ensure that your JWTs are as secure as possible. In this increasingly digital age, securing web applications is more important than ever. As we've explored, JSON web tokens play a crucial role in the realm of web development, offering a compact, URL-safe means of transmitting information between parties. Yet, like any tool, they're not without their potential pitfalls. JWTs, made up of a header, payload, and signature, are often employed for authentication and authorization. However, they can become a double-edged sword if misused or mishandled, opening doors for attackers to exploit and abuse them. From stolen or leaked tokens that allow for user impersonation, to JWT tampering that can lead to unauthorized access or privileges, the dangers are real and potent. Other vulnerabilities include token expiry manipulation, brute force attacks, and replay attacks, all of which can compromise the security of your application and the privacy of your users. Yet with every challenge comes a solution, and in the case of JWTs, the key lies in following best practices. Securing your web applications isn't simply about using the right tools, but using them correctly. Transmitting JWTs over secure connections, setting a reasonable expiration time for tokens, using secure storage mechanisms, protecting the signing key, validating inputs, and implementing token revocation mechanisms are all strategies that can help ensure the secure usage of JWTs in your applications. It's not enough to simply implement these measures. They must be regularly reviewed and updated to keep pace with evolving threats. The digital landscape is ever-changing, and as developers, we must adapt and evolve with it. In conclusion, JWTs are a powerful tool in the web developer's arsenal, but they must be handled with care. By understanding potential vulnerabilities and implementing robust security measures, you can leverage the benefits of JWTs while minimizing the risks. Remember, a secure application is a successful application. Stay vigilant, stay secure.